Hi, I'm Mark from SpeedCurve, and today I want to talk to you about the new Favourites dashboard. So before I do that, it's worth noting that we put a lot of effort at SpeedCurve into curating the dashboards that we do show you. And so at the moment we have a bunch of thematics dashboards where we curate together the metrics and the views of the data that we think are the most important and the most compelling in helping your organization come to grips with user experience. But sometimes there's just a particular view of the data that you want to see, and you want control over how that is sliced and diced and what metrics you're comparing to others. So we've now added a new favorites dashboard. And when you come in here for the first time, you'll see that it's empty and there'll be some help explaining how to use it. But you can just jump in and start adding charts. And so when I add a chart, the first thing we do is we pick which metric we want shown on this chart. So as an example here, I'm going to choose the first one, which is back-end time, but you can see here that we expose all our performance metrics that are available across all the different dashboards in SpeedCurve. So if I grab back-end time, then I can decide how I want that shown. Do I want the average of the back-end time across all the sites? Or do I actually want to break it out by each site and show a line for each specific site so I can compare them? Or do I want to drill down just into one of the sites that I've defined in this team? So in this example, let's do each site, which is quite often where some of the interesting data is where you want to compare it. And so the next menu is all the labels that you attach to the URLs, our regions that are available, and then the browsers that are available as well. So I'm just going to leave it averaging out the rest. Then I can give it a title. So let's just call it backend. And there's also an option to share it with the team. So by default, when you build a chart, it's just yours and it's just connected to your login, so you can work on charts and see particular things that you might be focused on and optimizing at the time, or you can share it with the team so that everybody can see that chart when they're part of that team. So if we save that, we'll get the data back straight away, and so now we can see the back-end time for our various sites, and these are all the URLs averaged together and showing us how they can trend over time. If I like, I can go in and change the time span and see a bit more data for those sites, or I can just go in and start editing the existing one, so I can change the title, I can change these metrics and have a play with them, or I can just jump in and start adding a new chart. So let's grab something like start render time, and this time, instead of doing it across each site, I'm going to do it just for the Guardian beta that we've got here, and this time I want to see what's happening across each of my browsers. So let's do each browser. So this is render time by browser, and we can save that. And now we can see, what's happening with data and kind of times across our various browsers. And we see here that our browsers are split out into two tiers. This upper tier is actually our mobile emulated browsers, and those run at a 3G connection speed. So that makes sense that the start render time for those would be a little bit slower than the three desktop browsers that we have got down below. And so it can be really interesting to play with these charts, build and try out different metrics. You can also drag and drop these. So if I want the back-end time to be first, I can just drag and reorder that, and everything gets saved automatically on the back end. So I hope you enjoy the new charts, start building some really interesting ones, and let us know what you find out. Cheers.